something deeply wrong, which is not a tragedy, which is something evil.
A home explosion purposely set by Josh Powell. Now Powell is dead, and he took with him his two young sons, Braden and Charlie. The whereabouts of his wife, Susan Powell, are still unknown. The last message left, a 3-word email from Josh. I'm sorry, goodbye. Josh Powell blew up his home just after 12 Pacific time this afternoon, moments after blocking a social worker from coming inside.
We have team coverage tonight. Jennifer Stagg spoke with members of the Powell family. Sam Penrod has reaction from people who knew the Powell children. Andrew Wittenberg talked to West Valley Police about the state of the investigation now.
And Sandra Yee is live in Washington near Josh Powell's destroyed home. Sandra, what's going on there? What's the latest?
Well, this is as close as we're able to get to the home of Josh Powell. You can see the flashing lights of the patrol cars at the end of the cul-de-sac. The home is actually hidden by trees just around the corner. We're told that investigators with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office are done for the night at the home. There are a couple of officers who will stick around watching the home, but they'll be back tomorrow morning. Josh Powell blew up his home just moments after a social worker dropped off his two boys, Charlie and Braden, for a supervised visit. All three were killed, further devastating a family already enduring tremendous amounts of grief.
This was something deeply wrong. This was something evil. Let's not refer to this, please, in public as a tragedy. This was not a tragedy. This was a horrible murder of two little kids. Let's not dress it up. Let's not sanitize it. Let's call it what it is.
Just after noon, an explosion tore through Josh Powell's home. His sons, 5-year-old Braden and 7-year-old Charlie, were killed. And police say their father, Josh Powell, is the one who did it.
This is going to hurt everybody's heart who's been involved.
Police say the boys had just arrived for a supervised visit at Powell's home in Graham, Washington. It's something they'd done before with no problem. But today, he blocked the social worker's path and locked the boys inside.
Today, when he opened up the door, he took the boys inside, locked her out. Within seconds, she heard and saw the fire. There were sounds of popping that's been described by a couple people as possibly being gunshots, but then a lot of people described it as the fire burning causing the noise.
We run outside and you just see this back billow of smoke. You could see the insulation flying everywhere, so you knew the roof blew off, and was just amazed that the house was gone and that quick.
Police found the bodies of two boys, believed to be those of Braden and Charlie. Then they found their father, Josh, dead.
There's two boys in there that had to end their life like this because of their father, and it's just horrible.
Officials say Powell used some sort of accelerant to make the home burn faster. Police don't yet know the exact cause of death, nor do they have a motive. Last week, a judge ordered Powell to undergo a psychosexual evaluation. His attorney said that upset him, though he never expected anything like this. And he never expected the email Powell sent him before the explosion. 3 words: I'm sorry, goodbye.
Killing two little kids. That's the bottom line here. That's the bottom line of what's happened here and what this is about.
Again, the area by Josh Powell's home has been cordoned off, so we're not actually able to get close to it. Investigators with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office are done for the night, and they'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll have all the latest from Washington tomorrow morning on KSL 5 News. Back to you.
Sandra Yee in Graham, Washington tonight. Thanks. Friends of Susan Powell certainly mourning the loss of her sons tonight.
Yeah, they've held a candlelight vigil and are expressing a wide range of emotions. News specialist Sam Penrod has more from the Powell's former neighborhood in West Valley City.
You know, there's a lot of anger out here, Keith and Deanie, that the lives of these two innocent boys were taken by their father. There's also a lot of anger that answers about what really happened to Susan may have died with Josh. But for now, Susan Powell's friends and neighbors are mourning for her children, boys they say she deeply loved.
Dozens of people gathered on a dark and cold evening to mourn for the children of Susan Powell.
Thank you for coming.
There have been vigils before, hoping that Susan would be found alive. But tonight, it was to remember her children.
It's always been about how he can use the children to hurt the Coxes as much as possible. And also the fact that he wanted to be in control, and if he couldn't have them, then nobody was going to.
Susan's friends are heartsick about the tragic loss of the two innocent boys, but aren't surprised Josh would hurt them.
I know what caused it. It's that Josh has always been
about control and about what's his and what belongs to him. And to him, the boys were nothing more than possessions.
Not only did he hurt them, Susan's friends are furious he chose such a violent and spectacular method to end their lives.
I'm just so angry at him that he would choose such a selfish and cowardly way to not only end his own life and end any chance of him giving answers to what happened to Susan, but also murder 2 innocent boys.
Debbie Caldwell is also heartbroken. She knew Charlie and Braden very well. She was their babysitter while Susan was at work. During Thanksgiving, she drove to Washington to see them for the first time in months and returned again in early January.
They seemed to be happy. They seemed to be really happy. And then this last time I went, they were doing even better. They were more like the kids that I took care of for 18 months.
She is kept in close contact with Chuck and Judy Cox about the boys. Chuck told her this afternoon that the oldest boy didn't want to go with his dad.
Charlie didn't want to go for his visit today. Chuck made him go. It was court ordered, so he made him go.
These photos are now her last memories of the boys she came to cherish.
The last time I seen Charlie and Braden, I was lucky. I think luckier than most, because I said, well, give me a hug because I might not get to see you for a while. And they gave me a hug and they both told me they loved me. So that's my last memory I have. So I was glad I got to go. But I'm still angry right now. I'm angry at him. I can't believe he could do something so evil. It's just so heartbreaking.
And Susan's friends tell us they are finding some peace in their belief that the boys have been reunited with their mother. They also say they are hoping that they can attend the funeral for the boys and pay their final respects. They also say that they long for the day when Susan can receive a proper burial.
Thank you, Sam Penrod. Those pictures you saw in Sam's story there were fairly recent photos taken and sent to us by the family today of the 2 boys. West Valley city leaders are calling it a nightmare, of course, if they's worried about the Powell's children for the past 2 years. Police in West Valley felt they were coming close to charging Josh Powell in Susan's disappearance. In a statement released late this evening, West Valley police said it will, quote, continue its investigation into the disappearance of Susan Cox Powell, and that a team of investigators is heading to Washington State right now. News specialist Andrew Wittenberg joins us from the West Valley PD now with how close that investigation got. Andrew.
Keith, good evening. Investigators told us earlier tonight that they could have charged Josh Powell as early as this summer with charges in connection to Susan Powell's disappearance. Also tonight, the mayor here says it's been a 2-year period of worry, of sadness, and in many cases filled with anger. In his home on Sunday night, West Valley City Mayor Mike Winder minced no words.
If Josh was feeling the pressure circling around him and wanted to end his life, you know, that's one thing that's tragic. But to pull the boys into it unnecessarily was downright selfish and evil. It was a murder of 2 innocent boys.
He's been following this case closely, along with his neighbors, for the past 2 years, as has West Valley City Police Chief Buzz Nielsen. He says the events from Sunday won't change the way his department will handle her disappearance.
Josh wasn't going to talk to us anyway. He hasn't in 2 years.
Nielsen says investigators were still working leads full-time and following up with evidence. They'll now travel to Washington State to see if any new details come forward. He also made public for the first time his intentions to file charges against Josh Powell later this year, as early as this summer, but now won't get that chance, saying Sunday night it still won't deter his mission to find Susan.
I can't talk about that SEAL stuff, but our case is circumstantial. We do have evidence, and we're moving along, and so I was hoping that we would get to that. I'm optimistic that this would be a good year for us.
For the city that mourns Susan Powell, Sunday's events only added to an already tragic story.
You have people in West Valley City that went to church with them, that played in the neighborhood with those boys, that knew that family, and it wasn't just a news story to them, but it's real people, and it's real people that died today.
And when asked tonight about what exactly Josh Powell's death would mean with regards to Susan Powell's whereabouts, Chief Buzz Nielsen, he said, frankly, it doesn't help or hurt matters. Josh Powell wasn't that much of a help to their investigation when he was alive, and he did not feel as though his death would hinder their investigation.